This has been another tough year for business. Yet Irish entrepreneurs, in good times and in tough times, have excelled, not only at home, but all around the world. For 15 years, the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year programme has celebrated their journeys. Now, the search for the 2012 winner has begun. All over the country, a quiet revolution is mobilising, and it's changing the face of Ireland. In the front line are the entrepreneurs, courageous men and women who imagine a future and then make it happen. Theirs is a vision that sees opportunity where others see only adversity. Theirs is a mindset filled with ideas and optimism. And theirs is a voice determined to fight for our prosperity. This is a community united in a cause. This is the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. Last May, a panel of judges was assembled. Their task was to whittle down all the nominations to a short list of finalists.
Our judges have broken it down to 24 finalists. There's 8 finalists in 3 categories: the emerging entrepreneur, the industry entrepreneur, and the international entrepreneur. What we see with the emerging category is that they're growing businesses, but they're proven. They're generating revenue at a very early stage. They're innovating, and it's being quite disruptive in a very positive way.
This year's finalists are drawn from all over Ireland, and as chairman of the judging panel, I will travel the length and breadth of the country to meet every one of those entrepreneurs. So my road trip this year starts in the heart of the country, in Portlaoise. Whatever way you dress it up, business success was always on the cards for Ronan O'Brien. Through his company, Zatori, he owns and operates costumeshop.ie, which promises to deliver your choice from 1 million Halloween and party costumes straight to your door.
We're the biggest online fancy dress store in Ireland. What we do is we sell costumes for the Halloween and Christmas and hen parties and, you know, St. Patrick's Day, all the different themes and times of year when you have costumes.
So Ronan, how did you get involved in this business?
Well, initially it was for a bet, to be honest with you. The costume shop arose because I was DJing at the time and I really wanted to get costumes for a big gig I had on Halloween. And we looked around, we couldn't find the suitable stuff in the market, and we didn't want to import it so we could claim our taxes, our VAT back. And so a friend of mine said, well, look, you know, I bet you can't do it. So I said, right, I'll take that bet. And 4 weeks later we had a very poor website, but we had a website nonetheless up there making sales. And that was 2007, so 5 years later. It's morphed into this. We had no financing, we had no money either. Yeah. So we bought the costumes, paid for them up front with the credit card and sold them before our 30 days were up, so we didn't have to pay any interest on the cards. And literally we grew this out of that structure.
You can't disguise talent though. And Ronan has branched out and operates 8 other online websites, selling items as diverse as pet food and bikinis, all using his tried and trusted formula.
Essentially what we do is we get someone to a website, we get their credit card details and we put something in a box, and then within that scope one of the different businesses will be an expert at wheelchairs or radars or pet food and pet products or, you know, fancy dress costumes.
Were you always a kind of a maverick, even going to school? You wanted to do things slightly differently?
I think so. I was dyslexic in school, which meant I took a lot longer to put things onto paper, which meant I'd always be punished for bad spellings and, you know, not getting work done in time. So I had to find kind of shortcuts and quick ways around it. In school, they often call that cheating, or they call that, you know, laziness. But in business, finding a better way of doing something, that's very advantageous.
Well, Ronan, that was great. Great meeting you.
Pleasure to meet you, and good to have you down here.
And I'll see you soon again, please God.
I look forward to talking to you. And thanks very much for coming and visiting.
Off on the journey now. Take care.
See you later.
Beautiful and remote West Cork. Well, it's not the first place you think of starting a business. But this family set up their business right here at home. Glenilen Farm is an artisan food business run by Alan and Valerie Kingston. The yogurts, cheesecakes and other traditional dairy products draw their inspiration from the milk produced on the family farm in Drimoleague, County Cork. This thriving business now employs 30, but I'm here to learn how Glenilen grew from a hobby to a business.
It was an August bank holiday weekend, and as usual I had gone to the Bantry Country Market and I packed up in the morning, and when I came home and I totted it up, I called Alan in and I said, Alan, look at this, I've made £120 today from those 2 saucepans of milk that I took earlier in the week and made into the cheese and the cheesecakes. And I think that really was a turning point for when Alan became interested.
I genuinely couldn't believe, that my cows were producing this milk to make this yogurt and this cheese, and all of a sudden I think I fell in love with my cows again, and my wife, of course, because it revolutionised my thinking on the quality of milk that we produce in Ireland. So it was a gratifying experience seeing the milk produced from the grass right through to the consumer.
Is this your board table? Is it here? This is where you have your board meetings?
This is where it's all sorted out. Is it?
It all happens. It happens in the kitchen still. It's all back in the kitchen.
Okay, so the kitchen is the boardroom, the centre of activity.
Yeah.
Great.
I think we're a case that if we can do this, anybody can do it. How far are we? 300 miles from Dublin. We're not near any major road network, and our background in that, I just really would say to anybody, if we can do this, anybody can do it. If you have a passion for what you do and just something unique that isn't out there already, just go for it and give it a try.
Start from the kitchen table and take it step by step, little baby steps.
Yes, the investment was 2 saucepans.
2 saucepans.
2 saucepans, and that didn't break the bank at that stage. And hard work.
Now I'm up the road to Tralee, which has become a hub for technology companies, just like the next entrepreneur. Sean Ryan's Aspen Grove brings all the players in the property market together in one place on the internet. The property management system is in a league of its own in the United States, allowing thousands of managers to oversee and maintain large-scale portfolios remotely and online.
So this is your lunchtime pastime?
Usually after work, but today lunchtime, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I need to keep them at work as long as possible.
And all these lads work with you?
They do, yeah. Wow. But they keep me young,
How did it all start? How'd you end up here in Tralee and Aspen Grove?
Here I'm from Ardfert, about 6 miles out the road, so always kind of wanted to come back and raise a family here, so it was a lot of personal reasons. Always interested in starting my own business as well, so kind of combined the two and came back to Kerry and made it happen.
Sean Ryan recognised early that the internet was not just a place to buy and sell things, but a place to connect businesses together. Aspen Grove's application connects everyone in the property chain, from owners and managers to builders and contractors, gardeners and cleaners, to tenants and, increasingly, prospective buyers.
We would have about 5,500 real estate agents using our application. We've sold somewhere in the region of $50 billion worth of property through our applications. So it's large-scale transactions is what we're looking for. All of the technical stuff is done here in Tralee, and so we've built up a very strong team to manage all of that. A lot of our servers would be based in the US, and the team manage them from here. Because the type of business we're in, we can be anywhere. Ironically, we talk about American companies employing Irish people. Irish companies employ something like 80,000 people in the US. So we're a major player going the other way as well, and we shouldn't lose sight of that, and we should be very proud of it. There's a lot of talk in Ireland about foreign direct investment, but the saving, if you like, of this country is going to be from within. And it's critical that businesses start in Ireland and they can see that you can have a global business from Ireland and that other people are doing it and that it's possible. So, just get out and do it.
I've come from the west coast of Ireland to the west coast of America to meet an entrepreneur who's making a big splash in the pharmaceutical and biotech industries.
Peter Milner is a serial entrepreneur. He's also a practicing cardiologist with a passion for developing novel solutions to persistent problems the medical profession encounter. Optivia has created a test that will help identify how drugs interact in the body, making treatment safer for patients.
Peter, tell me a bit about yourself. How did you get involved in this business? And you're from Tipperary.
Yes, my father was from Dunmanway, County Cork, and my mother from Kevin Street, Dublin. And we live in Rosscray, County Tipperary. But I went to medical school in Liverpool and then to Johns Hopkins in the United States and then to the University of Virginia. And then I was a professor of medicine and genetics at Washington University in St. Louis. And I trained as a physician and a basic scientist, but I really wanted to go into business. Optivia tests drugs to make them safer. So to give you an example, Porrig, if you take a drug, we have to know how it gets into the body and how it's distributed through the body and whether it interferes or interacts with other drugs you're taking. On average, people take 10 or 15 drugs, and we have to understand how they interact with each other at the level of absorption in the gut or distribution to the tissues. So the results that we give drug companies and the Food and Drug Administration make it onto the fine print on the box of the drug so that doctors can understand you shouldn't take this drug with that drug. I now have 70 patents, and I recently, in the last year or two, helped reshape the patent law here in the United States with the Leahy-Smith Act.
And you always wanted to get into business. That was the ultimate.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, because you can affect change better in business. If I'd stayed in university, I might have had visions of how things should change, but unless you're in business and have entrepreneurial skills, you can't affect the change. You can't use management skills and tools, resources, both people and money, to affect change.
The emerging category is all about businesses that are on a path. They're on a rapid growth path. We should be really proud of the emerging entrepreneur because they're the ones that are coming up with new technology, new innovation. Why it's so important to acclaim these people is because we need to help them grow their brands and grow their confidence. These are the people that we will be reading about, not just today, not just tomorrow, but well into the future.
In part 2, I'll meet the next 4 entrepreneurs in the emerging category. I'm travelling around Ireland, meeting the 8 nominees in the emerging category. Next stop is Glenilen in Dublin, a place humming with business and good places to eat. But I've heard that the chef's table in one nominee's house is among the best around. Niall Harbison cooked up Simply Zesty, a social media marketing agency, just 3 years ago. They provide cutting-edge creative content for Ireland's biggest brands, creating and coordinating viral videos, social media campaigns, and managing online PR. There's a lot of ingredients to bring together, but one-time personal chef Niall is used to that.
Can't wait for this.
You're starving, are you?
I am, but also you're the man that actually used to cook for Paul Allen, one of the founders of Microsoft.
I did back in the day, yeah.
What was that like?
Not as much pressure as it is cooking for yourself, but I know it was good. It was an exciting job. I used to travel all over the world cooking for him. Never too late to become a chef yourself.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that. Most people believe or think that you need to be an expert in a particular area to start a business, and you were not. You came from a totally different space.
Well, like I don't do the practical parts of the social media. That's very much the different expert people that we have in the business, but it's just more about grabbing the opportunity. Simply Zesty help brands understand social media. So social media is a very wide term, but essentially consumers have moved from newspapers and TV to using the likes of Facebook and their smartphone. So we help big brands reach those consumers through these new tools. It's fun to run a creative business. It doesn't really feel like coming to work. There's a great buzz around the place. And I think you need that creative atmosphere to come up with the ideas and to sort of execute them. So it's definitely a fun place to work. There's endless amount of possibilities out there for entrepreneurs, especially in Ireland. We're in the toughest, most depressing economic state at the moment, but you can still go out and create your own future. You can still build a product and sell it on the internet to people in Australia tomorrow morning if you're hungry enough. You just have to go and do it.
Grabbing a golden opportunity was an easy decision for the next nominees. A couple riding the crest of a wave in the beauty business. Mark and Ciara Walton are using the resources literally on their doorstep for their business. Launched as a spin-out from the Walton family's well-known seaweed baths in Strandtail, Voya products are a little bit of spa luxury at home. From Strandtail in Sligo to Selfridges in London, where they've just opened their flagship store, and beyond. For Voya, it is the plentiful seaweed along the shore that is the star of the enterprise.
Tell me about this. Tell me about the seaweed. It's very...
This is Fucus serratus. It's a very common type of seaweed that grows on the west coast of Ireland. It's a wonderful material to work with. As you can see, it's actually quite golden at this time of year. And that's because it's kind of ripened, for want of a better phrase, but also there's a real viscous feeling to it. That's because the sodium alginate.
Yeah, it's kind of slimy and that.
You say slimy, we say it's luxurious.
Luxurious.
We were looking to grow the business into seaweed baths. One of the obvious things there was having additional retail products and treatments. So we looked for products to support them. Now the seaweed baths, we use an organic material in there, so we wanted to be an organic seaweed-based product. And we couldn't find anything on the market, so it was an obvious decision there to say, well, let's make them ourselves. You know, obviously there was a limited opportunity in Ireland. There's only so many five-star hotels and luxury retailers, so we had to go international day one. We went for the best of breed, so we call them ambassador clients. So we would have gone to major cities around the world and approached the best hotels. So, for example, in Dubai, it was the Burj Al Arab. In London, it was the Berkeley, you know, Mandarin Oriental, Hong Kong. And we actually had much more traction internationally initially. We did very well, which is why we export so much of our product now, I suppose.
Yeah. We're up against the big boys and girls in packaging, so we have to really make our packaging stand out against organic ranges as well as the luxury brands, yes.
It wasn't about being the best brand now, we wanted to be the best brand in the world. And we made a product that was comparable, if not better, to them. We spent a great deal of time in design, packaging, research, so that when we walked into that, that meeting, we had a product that they wanted. Kind of makes sense, but it's something that people miss all the time. You just want to make sure you want to give them a product that they want. You solve a problem for them, and if you do that, you'll succeed.
Belfast is my next port of call, and my first visit to the Titanic Quarter. Matthew Brown's team at Connect Telecom in Belfast research and secure the best value phone, mobile and data packages for their business customers. With dedicated face-to-face management of your account, Connect Telecom is committed to bringing back the personal touch in a rapidly growing business horizon in Belfast.
Belfast has obviously changed dramatically from when I started work in Belfast at the start of the 90s to now. It's a completely different place, a completely different atmosphere. It's only really whenever you sort of sometimes stop and take stock that you appreciate how different things are. I think business in Ireland is quite tough at present. Anywhere, I think the problems throughout the island of Ireland are sort of well known, but it is great, to be operating in Belfast. It's great to be doing business in a city that's on the up and up.
People use telecoms in so many different ways, and it's always developing. So even as a small business, you'll have your own phones, you'll have landlines, you'll have broadband, you'll have smartphones, you'll have tablets, a wide range of telecom services that you use. Really what we try and do is bring that all together.
Part of the excitement of growing a business in a fast-paced sector like telecoms is the opportunity to use advances in technology in a way no one has before. And it's the flexibility and creativity of steering his own ship that attracted Matthew into business in the first place.
Always wanted to be involved in business. I always wanted to have my own business. I could very easily have gone down a different path. I originally started out working in a bank. I think in my heart of hearts I always knew I wanted to be working for myself. I suppose the one advice would be to be absolutely 100% certain and 100% committed to what you're doing. You can't really go at it if you're a wee bit sort of half-hearted at it. You need to be absolutely convinced that what you're doing is something that you will be able to see through and be able to deliver on. Because there will be difficulties. There's some problems will come from areas that you never imagined, but that's business.
My last stop this week is near home.
I'm in Galway City to meet a local Galway lad with business in his blood. And today he has travelled all the way from Dubai to meet me. Paul Kinney's family owned Kinney's Bookshop, once a landmark on High Street in Galway. Long before Amazon, Kinney's led the way in online book sales. With trailblazing in the genes, Paul is bringing e-commerce to the Middle East with his Deal of the Day website, Cabone.com. Just 2 years in, Cabone has already racked up 1.5 million customers.
Well, in 2004 I went there on a holiday, and the first thing I did was I searched online and said, can I sell books online here? And I realised there was no online bookshop. Anyway, for some reason that idea didn't come true, but I ended up going back there and realised that there was still no internet companies. And I had the knowledge and execution experience to do it. So that's where it started.
And Kinney's is one of the best known companies in Galway.
Yeah.
Very much founded in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You got the genes from your dad, did you?
Little did I know when I was working alongside my father and my uncles and aunts that I was taking an awful lot of experience from them. Things were rubbing off as growing up, and that really added to my future.
And that future is bright, according to Gulf magazine, who listed Paul as their 10th most influential person under 30 and the only non-Arab on the list. In a place with no tradition of online shopping, Cabone is the second most visited e-commerce site in the Middle East.
Cabone is an e-commerce site, so it's a play on the words of coupon. Right? So it's similar enough to a Groupon or an Amazon, a merge of two. And today it's one of the largest e-commerce sites in the Middle East and North Africa.
What's the value of trade or commodities that are bought and sold on Cabone every month or every year?
So we're doing everything from a $100 ticket to a $28,000 ticket, where we've sold 4 Nissan Pathfinders not that long ago on the site. People have a lot of money in the Middle East, and that's what I'm there to take.
So, did you ever feel like giving up?
No, I mean, we hit, I don't even know how many barriers. And there's always a solution for every single problem. And I think that's really where an entrepreneur comes in, is never give up. And even when I didn't even speak the language, I've been to meetings where I've had people shout at me in other languages. I didn't even know what they were talking about, but you still find a solution.
So that happens to me sometimes too. I've met all 8 emerging finalists now, representing the best up-and-coming businesses in the country. In 3 weeks' time, one of them will be chosen as emerging category winner, and that difficult decision falls to the judging panel. This year, the emerging category are very, very diverse.
What's really impressive is how quick their route to market has been. I mean, there are companies here that are only, maybe 2 years old and yet have really strong revenue lines.
What really inspires me is when you listen to each of their stories, while they're all so very, very varied, there's one thing that's constant and among all of them, and that's their determination to make it work.
For me, there's a clear winner, so I don't have any debate or struggle.
I think the emerging category is really where it all starts. These are the people who were sitting at home with an idea just a few years ago. They've turned it into something fantastic. I'm going to fight very hard to make sure we get the right category winner there.
They're all totally unique and they're all role models, which I think is the most important thing in this competition, because we're trying to inspire the next generation.
This is probably the hardest decision we've had for years in this category. The emerging category has some real future stars.
This is not an easy task. The judges are so passionate about ensuring they get the right answer that they will deliberate and argue for hours tonight. They want to ensure that the absolute best of entrepreneurship on the island of Ireland is coming through this year.
Next week, I'm back on the road, meeting the finalists of the industry category.